You said that before we went live, Neil. Would you like to repeat yourself?
I'm just saying that the hasty train ground to a halt last night.
Yeah.
Poor Ryan Storm.
We had a wonderful. The hasty train had a wonderful run on Tuesday night. We were feeling great, but yeah, we ran into some hassles on the tracks around 16 minutes into the second set last night.
Oh boy,
we were going strong for a few minutes there. I'll tell you that. But hello, everybody. Welcome back to Always Almost There, day after show live. Today is Halloween. Very exciting. Wow, this guy's in chat. Should we bring him on the pod?
I think we should bring him on the pod.
We should bring him on the pod. We've got Connor, aka Long Strange Niche, joining us.
You're just letting anyone in from the chat?
Pretty much. That's how it works. If you're the first one in chat, you get on the pod.
You just automatically on the pod.
Do not quote us on that because we will not follow through on that.
Wait, what did you do with the $30 for the fast pass I bought for the chat? Because if you're just letting people in, then
that
goes toward people. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah,
I was trying to
maybe a
something
Dr.
on the fly
Darkness
there.
costume, perhaps.
I need to. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's Halloween. We're here to talk about last night's Goose show in Miami. Connor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I just saw 2 Goose shows in my home state. I didn't have to get on a plane to go to a Goose show. I did have to work the next day, both days. I'm currently at work, but we're here, we're living it. And they were sick. Am I allowed to talk about night one, or is this just strictly last night?
We are talking about last night, but you can give a little brief.
You can cut my mic anytime I talk about night one. It's
perfect. You can
Before we get started with night one, I just want to say your work setup is sick.
Yeah,
you have your gong at work.
Oh, we
can't go any farther without talking about this.
This whole thing.
Please give us a demonstration here.
Wait, now where's my mallet? They keep letting these kids come in here and play with my. Oh!
Yeah. It's like hot tea. It's like hot tea.
I got a great bit of Jeff during hot tea, getting a nice gong shot in.
Oh, it was good. All right, Connor, let's kick things off. Take us through your pre-show vibe yesterday, getting to the venue, where you ended up.
The vibe was electric. I had my buddy from Virginia whose first Goose show was Goosemas. He texted me before Goosemas and was like, "I'm assuming you're going. It's like hometown Goosemas." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "All right, sick." And I'm like, "You're with me. I have 100. We have 100 people. You're one of the 100 people that are." And then he just fell in love with Goose, as one does when they go to their first show. Huge Dave Matthews fan, so that was his entrance, and loved it. And another GA Goose show, and it was perfect. And then Tuesday night was his birthday, and I was like, "Hey man, I just bought 4 tickets to each show, so I have your ticket. I would love for you to come down and
the niche provides."
And yeah, speaking of which, I might be selling some MSG tickets. Hopefully, I don't.
Different band.
I'm not going to sell them now. I have. They actually are accounted for. But yeah, just buy 4 tickets at a time, people. Buy 4 tickets at a time.
Buy for your friends who you don't even know are going yet. Because why not? Well, where did you end up for the show last night? I know you like to roam a little bit.
We got there, dude. It was perfect. So I got out of work, went home, picked up my buddy, and just headed down to Miami. I just typed in, the Fillmore, and there was a parking spot right in front of the Fillmore. I was like, let's get to the Fillmore, then we'll circle and find one of the many garages.
Neil knows all about it.
Right there, dead center. And it was just incredible. I was like, am I allowed? Okay. And then we were just in line. So we got, still wearing it. God, that's green. Wow. Oh shit. That was a live green. Speaking of, let's get to the green opener later.
We'll get to the green opener.
We'll get, and so I got to be the tier 2, the 3-tiered guys. I'm sure we talked about yesterday, but I was in the second tier, which was lovely. Befriended friends on the rail for tier 2. which is exactly where I was for when I saw Khruangbin there like 2 years
Nice.
ago. And it's perfect because like you get the feeling of being on the rail, but then you're also just at eye level with the band. So that was a pretty perfect spot. And then could always look back at you and Lisa and just be like, oh, look at he's dancing. He's having a good time. That's you, by the way. This kid. That's you.
me.
It's a nice wig.
Good for me.
So yeah, I mean, it was perfect. And like I said, my buddy Dave, who came with me, is a huge Dave fan. Wild. And so he's a professional showgoer. We did Canes the night before the show, and then we met some people online that were like, oh, we did Canes after. So we had chicken tenders after. It was phenomenal. And then I just also was able to know where all of my different friends are. And at one point I just go, all right, I got to go see some people. And I just started my bops, and then like said what's up to one friend and was just like, I got to run like 5 more errands. Hold on, I'll be back. And
I love it.
I thrive in a GA environment.
I love it. Well, yeah, I love
true.
that you got that parking spot. Neil knows all about getting the parking spot right.
No greater joy than getting the parking spot in front of the venue. I did it 3 nights in a row when they just played Boston.
Oh, wow.
It was an all-time high of my life.
I have a good picture of
I
Neil
remember.
taking
Actually,
a
I
selfie.
follow your content, and
Really?
I'm now remembering it.
Love
I'm
your
just
shit,
being
dude.
so proud of you, because I did all my like doctor's visits like right in Fenway. Like that's where Dana-Farber is, so I know that area so well, and know what a hellhole it can be, but also what great it brings to the world.
Well, let's dive into the show here. As you mentioned, we had a green opener, Earthling or Alien, and Mr. Action.
I mean, they were teasing green, like, and Getty was just teasing green so much night one. One thing that I don't want to go any further without saying, I really appreciate he did a lot of green and orange, not like so much. He kept it niche, if you will. But Miami Hurricanes are green and orange, so it's just a quick locals
I didn't know that.
Well, that's why you have me on the pod.
Yeah,
sports.
And we'll get to another Florida niche thing, but yeah, so it's nice that Getty was throwing us some Miami Hurricanes vibes. I'm sure the locals appreciated that. I mean, I did, and I live in West Palm. Don't let the Palm Beach people hear me saying that. They're all tuned in anyway. But yeah, and then night 2, huge green opener,
literally the first light.
And also it was nice because I was going with my buddy David to Goose, and we were joking about our one friend who was like, dude, I totally called this Earthling or Alien. And we're like, yeah, so did the other 15,000 people here.
For the record, I didn't have it on my Fantasy Goose that night because I didn't call it. I thought it was too obvious.
You knew it was good. Yeah, no.
But I called it last night. So
that's the great thing about this band is they'll give you exactly what you want sometimes. They know the bits and they'll play right into them, and they're fantastic. So yeah, Earthling or Alien. If I may side tangent, that's why you had me on. So I'm a drama teacher, and I just did my first play of the year. I write plays with the kids, and I did one. I know. I thank you for appreciating the green. I did one about aliens and how, it's like these kids stayed up all night and they were like, oh my gosh, the aliens are coming. We got to break into school and climb to the top of the roof and meet the aliens tonight. And then we slowly find out that some of the kids have been aliens the entire time, and they're there. The curtain call music was Earthling or Alien. So it was a nice little thanks guys. I know. I know that you have cameras up everywhere in my life and you're just doing all this for me. I really appreciate it. But
the Connor show, the niche show, not the Truman show. Yeah, really solid Earthling or Alien opener. Really, again, the Hasty Train was chugging along the track.
Can you define these things for people that have no idea what you're?
So the Hasty Train is something that Neil created yesterday because of how excited I was about the Born.
Just in general, it was very, very excited.
And I get excited about a lot.
I love it. It's a pivot off of a Hasty Rank. It's a Hasty Train.
The Hasty Train.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was during this opener, you get really weird sounds on the OB6 from Peter, like immediately, like the second the jam starts. It's like instead of going to clav or whatever, it's just like wow.
I think my one
I
tweet
love
from
that.
the show was at Ryan Storm, UB40 tweet. Because
Yes.
I knew it was the OB6, but I was
Right
just
as
like,
that.
I
Yeah.
wanted to just have it be fun. So yeah, UB40 tweet, dude.
Yeah, why not? Why not? But yeah, this was great. Really, really solid Earthling jam. Nice little, hose. I think it reminded me a bit of the Remlinger Farms one. Not quite as impactful as that one was for me.
Yeah.
But like 15 minutes, get into a nice major key space, good peak. Get things going. And then Mr. Action, it crushes early first set. This one had like 18 peaks, as it tends to do.
I know you bring me on here to talk about bits that I do during the show.
Of course.
I want to share with the world.
There are a lot of bits.
Gosh, I have one for the encore that I cannot wait to tell you about. But I'll hold it. Just telling your friends around you that they always see it through. Like, hey, you always see it through. Just like, it's like this, like, obviously you do a quick, like, this one's for you, and like everyone in the room is Mr. Action. It can definitely be the guys that are pushing the buttons as the show's going on, but it can also be the people that showed up at the show, and because everyone's doing their own actions in life. And yeah, I was having a lot of fun being like, what I always really like about you,
Rick, see it through.
You take it. You always see it through. And that was a fun one.
Love it. Neil, you got any thoughts on these first two tunes?
I don't think I've ever gone that deep on Mr. Action in my life. I will say this. I think it's a little foreshadowing of the Dr. Darkness that comes tonight, right? The alter ego of Mr. Action is Dr. Darkness.
I should have worn a white lab coat last night.
Yeah, or who knows? I mean, well, as we just learned, Mr. Action can be anyone, Ryan. Mr. Action is within you. And it's also everyone.
Mr. Action is the friends we made along the way.
I'm pretty sure I was just pointing at Ryan during it and being like, "You take a bow. You take a bow. You."
I think that was during Atlas. But we'll get to that.
Oh God.
Let's talk about Indian River Atlas here. This was a really solid segment. I think the Delta Jam is next up on the chopping block for things that Goose needs to breathe a little fresh life into. I think we saw it with the Born Jam last night. And I think they started the Delta Jam, Peter especially, trying to do something different with it. Instead of just going into the usual piano-led thing, it kind of went into this like kind of grimy type 1.5 clav space.
And really
I
heard you say the 1.5. Is that a new term?
No, it is not. It is not. It's like a little bit outside the norm, but not quite.
I appreciate you like building off of the type 2, type 1 jam thing and creating something in the middle, to which I was just, someone said that they said it to you, or that you said it to them, or they read a tweet or something. And I was just like, yeah, for me, that was more of a 1.4. I've had a couple 1.6s and those are just really incredible. But like, and you really don't need a 1.5. 1.4 will really get you going, but a 1.5, that's really solid, nice place to be. Obviously, type 2, sure. Yes. That's something to write home to mom about.
Yes.
But a 1.5 really does it.
We got a good point from John Chuli in the chat. Fish and the Sea vibes late in the jam for sure. I enjoyed this Delta. I think a little later on, Rick, decided he wanted to Delta it and just peak the same motif for a while, which was fun. But nothing crazy happening here. And then as they're coming down from the peak, Peter starts doing these like really drawn out clav riffs, which I really enjoyed. And then, you kind of slow it down and drop very smoothly into Atlas, which is great. Happy to see this one pop again. Third one of the year.
Can we just take 1 second? I know that you are 1.5 hard about the Delta and talking about that, but the nicheness of an Indian River.
Yeah.
Because in Florida, there's Indian River County. I posted it to the niche page just so you could see it.
I was going to say, I think you texted that.
I texted it to you that I was just like, and also the Okeechobee Fest was in Indian River County. Where are Rick's shoes? I've gone to the airport many times looking for his Converses. So that was just like, I'm just sitting there being like, wow, they're really hitting locals with it. And that was really, really special. Then the Delta was obviously sick. And that's when I went, I think, on my first little errand trip to see friends. And then the Atlas brought me back down because I was with some buddies who are Virginia boys. And I was like, if we're doing Wood Brothers, I got to be with some Virginia boys. Because when you go far south in Florida, you actually leave the South and you end up in some tropical zone. But you were saying about Atlas. Thank you for the time. I see the stage to you.
There we go. Neil, Indian River Atlas.
Yeah, man. Indian River was good. I saw this one coming. I knew they were going to play it one of the 2 nights, and it just felt ripe. So, yeah, excellent jam. And then, yeah, Atlas, surprising. They're just like weird covers that popping up a lot, right? And
yeah.
Atlas is like kind of a shocker, especially since like for a while there, they kind of were joking around with Atlas and like not playing it at all, throwing it on every set list for like a whole entire tour, I think, and
Neil,
not playing it on that tour.
That was 3.5 years ago.
Sure. Okay. But like, how many times have they played it since then? Look it up. Let's see.
A good number.
Doesn't have the stats.
They've played it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times.
Connor's falling asleep.
Connor falls asleep when we start going into stats.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They don't play it all that often. They've played it a lot this year.
Yeah.
What Wood Brothers song would you like them to play? And when I say them, you could also make it a Rabelo. Some of my favorites.
I mean, I want to hear One More Day more. I love that in Montana.
Yeah.
I would steal one of the Wood Brothers and then have them play something from A Go-Go by Medeski Martin with John Schofield. That's what I would do. If I had to pick one of the Wood Brothers, that's what I would do.
Well, let's continue on with this set here. We get Lead Up, Rock the Casbah with alternate lyrics, and So Ready. Something happened with Naveed and a bus wash on their day off. We don't know what it is.
I want the details.
It's funny.
So for anyone that has no idea why Ryan, and he's putting on his oh no, he's just taking a shit. So Lead Up was great. I love that because Rick just Waffen Towns. He starts that often with a W sound, which is I think is fantastic sometimes, and he's just getting so into it. It was a lot of fun. The Casbah.
Yeah.
It was nice that they did not what's maybe it's the Casbah night one. Help me, you guys are the Goose fans that know all the lyrics.
What are you referring to here?
Now I have to look at night one. Maybe it's the Casbah. Fuck.
Wait, we're talking about Mr. Action?
Yeah, thank you. So they went from the Indian River really took me. The Delta really took me to a different place. So this is I'm in set 1.5 actually, maybe 1.4. Yeah. But Mr. Action, maybe it's the Casbah into the Casbah. Casbah prize. You don't even realize that we were in a Casbah prize.
That's pretty niche.
That's incredibly niche.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Like, are we going to ignore the fact that a man just delivered a safe behind Ryan as we were talking?
It's a mini fridge. It's a mini fridge. We just checked into our hotel. We need a fridge for the food.
Oh my goodness.
Someone in the Instagram chat is like, I've got trick-or-treaters. Yeah, you're a little early in the hotel in St. Petersburg.
Amazing.
Anyway, yeah, that's.
What happened to Naveed? I want to know what happened to Naveed.
I also want to know. But
someone needs to come.
Getty and Loomis were like howling with laughter while it was happening.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great.
I'm sure
Naveed,
it's a good story.
He doesn't like it. It was a lot of fun.
Something tells me Naveed is not going to like it when people ask him about what that's about. Like,
yeah,
like when they come like back to the Northeast, I think he's just going to nonstop be telling whatever story there is, or he's just going to be like, "Oh, it was nothing."
He's a man of the people.
Yeah, he is a man of the people.
Twist the story in different ways. And at the end of the day, he liked it.
There we go.
And like, what a band to be tying in everyone that's in all the Mr. Actions, and then also have fun with them
at the bus wash.
At the bus wash.
Well, yeah, fun way to end the first set, and I love that. So Ready is a Sauce song. Pretty much every version now. Sauce. All right, set break. Once again, they time managed very, very well last night. I'm hoping that carries over tonight. Same thing. Would love to see them go on, 10 minutes after ticket time. 10:15 as they've done the last 2 shows. But yeah, it felt like, we had ample time, and then we come out for the second set.
Before you get there,
sorry, set break.
They played all parcels.
Yes,
set break.
Live
volume 1. I watched Loomis cue it up at the end of So Ready. Live volume 1, and I was like, let's fucking go. And then it started, and it was like it had been on for like 30 seconds, and you were already over, being like, "Who's playing Parcels?"
Yeah, I was like, Ryan, remember how after the Fish show, when me, you, and Neil, we put on this album, and you listened to it, and it was great. They're playing the entire album. This is so great that the people that I love the same things that I do. It's awesome. Sorry.
Yeah. It was exciting. And I mean, great set break vibe.
It's the perfect vibe of all
throw
time.
Live volume 1 on. It's like in Seattle. Was it Seattle, or it was either Seattle, one of the Pacific Northwest shows, Loomis just threw on American Beauty. Or no, maybe it was Working Man's Dead. I forget which one. It was one of those 2 albums, but he just threw it on, and I was like, oh, this is great for set break. So shout out to Loomis and his set break music curation, except for the bluegrass album that he played one of the nights in Montana, which was not very good.
Talk.
I can do that.
I know it's a podcast and you have to talk.
We forgot to tell everyone about the drinking game.
Graders, my 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
If you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all.
Well, if I only
Ryan
have nice
feels
things
compelled
to say,
let everybody know what he doesn't like.
Yeah.
I'm compelled to tell him shut the fuck up.
Well, you're about to have a lot more of that.
Monster, all I need. Monster.
Yeah, this jam blew my mind a little bit. First half of it, just really amazing collective build to a peak. Rick kind of hinting at 1 in, 1 out for 3 straight minutes. There's just the whole peak segment is almost 1 in, 1 out for so long. But I loved it. Started off sounding like an all-timer, Eugene-esque space. Sorry, Neil. And a killer segue. I would say even this is a Manu-esque space. This is they got all quiet after the peak, and I was just my jaw was on the floor. And just for the record, Neil was calling out the Hasty Train this morning when I was talking about it. I re-listened to it in the car, and it's that good.
So good. Stands up.
You just don't like it as much because it's kind of Eugene Borny, which you hate.
No, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think it's really good. I think this is a great version. I didn't say it was bad.
It's phenomenal. This segment of jamming,
and Getty was just on fire.
Yeah, and it's an expansion of the LA drip kind of thing as well. That really, really calm and quiet space with Peter kind of coloring over the top on a more lead synth as opposed to just pads or a drone. Rick down in his pedals. And I loved here, similar to how Manu is on TED tapes, you have the rhythm section just kind of chugging along very slowly underneath and just letting Rick and Peter just go crazy over top of what was happening. So I can't say enough about this segment of jamming. It's so good. And I was incredibly disappointed when Rick ripcorded it into White Lights. Yes, the segue is very cool, but I do want to say there are times when a jam feels like, it's kind of at an end and it could keep going, but they're going to segue instead. This one felt to me that the other 4 guys in the band were right in the thick of it, full of inspiration, ready to keep going and see where the music was going to take them. And Rick was kind of we're going to play White Lights now.
I think that the jam was so incredible and so phenomenal, and that everyone was so into it. And it was nice being closer up tonight rather than back in the seats where there's people talking. And I think that he just wanted to celebrate the people and shine some white lights on them. And just be like, here you go. I want to look at you. Here's White Lights. Oh my gosh, don't you all feel special? You're in White Lights.
There we go. Neil, what do you think here?
There you go. Also, I'd love to talk about
this White Lights is really, really good. Why are we not talking about the White Lights?
You want to talk about the All I Need at all?
Well, I think we already did talk about it. It's really, really good. I think folks should go check it out. I think you pretty much described the jam perfectly.
Thank you.
And the Eugene-esque stuff, like, keep it going.
Whoa.
People out there are spreading fake news on the internet that I dislike the Eugene Bourne. That's
I don't
not
say
true.
you dislike it. I say you like despise it.
Yeah, no, that's not true. Love it, and love that they're doing a lot of this stuff. They should keep doing it. They should do a whole ton of it tonight. That would be sick. Maybe they just like get on the stage and they don't play any songs tonight at all. Maybe they just play weird sounds for the whole entire show. I'd be down.
I mean,
I would listen to the whole show.
I'd be down.
I'd be so down for that.
Yeah.
Actually,
right.
Can you save it for St. Augustine? Because I'm actually not going to be there tonight.
You're not going to be there tonight. Yeah.
No. I do have a call of what tonight's going to be. Just
we'll get to that. We'll get
my
we'll
brain.
get to
Yeah.
that.
No. And just on where I was. So I usually old setup love to be like in line with Trev and purposely so that I can be on a nice diagonal with Jeff and see him looking at, and then you also get to see full cheese of Peter, like just being like in awe of Rick and just being like, this is so sick. Oh my God. And his smile is just beaming, which, and now you're a piano player, you understand this stuff. Is it weird that I would love if Peter reversed his two like stage right and stage left setups so that he doesn't have as high of a setup on the side where he's looking into Rick? Because I had that same Peter diagonal, but Peter can't see Rick as much unless he's like looking over his two boards.
I mean, I just think he spends most of his time playing piano or clav, like stuff on that side, and so he doesn't want to be facing away from the rest of the band for the majority of the show. That's the only thing there.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. I don't know what he's got there.
Yeah.
He was there was multiple Bruce Hornsby sit-ins besides the way it is the night before. Like it sounds like he has been
channeling.
He's been channeling and like that experience. I can only imagine how incredible that was.
Yeah.
And there's just some stuff that we were just like, Bruce. I'm not a big fan of the Goose, but like I think Rick one time was like, yeah, I like that. After a big Goose one time, and I was like, all right, if he likes the Goose, then go for the Goose, sure. And then Peter was doing, it's just Bruce. Oh my gosh, bring him out again.
There we go.
There we
go. Well, then here we get the rest of the second set here. Kind of a second first set, if you will. Really interesting set listing for a set two. But you have Electric Avenue, the SOS, Lead the Way, Hot Tea, and then a Jive 2, Jive Lee encore, which huge fan of that. First time Jive 2 Lee encore since 127.22. And I mean, that's just a sick encore. First Jive 2 in the encore since, I believe, Vegas 2022. But super excited about that. Squeeze a nice little 3-4 minute Lee in before curfew. But yeah, this set to me, they went the vibes route, which is fine. The crowd was loving it. The crowd was having a great time. But I want to highlight that while this was a great time and the energy was there and people were having a great time, I believe that the biggest crowd reaction of these two shows was like the end of Born on Tuesday. And I think that what I've always said when people like you, Connor, say that like I'm being too critical and you don't always need the jams. The shows with the big jams and the really amazing big jams are the ones with the highest vibes.
So you just spread fake news. No, that's why we come, is for the 25-minute jams. And you want to be in a space where you are feeling the emotions of Born, and then they go into space disco and it's the most beautiful thing ever. And then they peak it into a beautiful space and you're like, thank you for taking us there. You had to bring me all the way down to this emotional space so that I could live in this joyful space. Can I tell you something really cool about being a Florida Goose fan and Electric Avenue?
Do it.
So October 22, the closest thing they had gotten to Florida Goose as a headlining was Atlanta. They played 2 nights at that pretty sick venue, Pullman Yards. I only went the Saturday because it's a 9-hour drive to Atlanta from where I am. But I made it to the Saturday. It was one of the sickest shows. I left afterwards just being like, well, the first set, I was like, I could have just gone home after the first set. It was perfect. And they played in Electric Avenue there. That was sick. That was great. I'm trying to stay focused. And then Okeechobee Fest, they also played in Electric Avenue. And then last night they played in Electric Avenue. So, you may, if you're a hypercritical piece of shit, I mean, if you're Ryan, if you're someone, you may be like, wow, you heard the same song 3 times. But that was 2022 and it was cool because I just moved down here and I got to see Electric Avenue and I'm a big part of My Take fan and I wish that they would use that as their intro. Shout out Emily Bush. And then they played it at Okeechobee Fest and I was like, oh, now I'm remembering that sick show that I was at. And then I was like, oh, guess what? Now I'm remembering both of those sweet shows. And also at that Okeechobee Fest, they played Fish in the Sea. So Massive Fish in the Sea.
That's a great festival set as well. Yeah. Neil, you have any thoughts on the structuring of this second set?
I mean, it's just weird.
Yeah.
But you know why it's weird? Because today's a special show, and there's going to be a special set list. We've been talking about this for a while now. Everything is lining up until today.
It's a sick venue that they're going to throw the fuck down on.
Yeah, and soon too. We should talk about hours or whatever. So yeah, they'll be playing music shortly before right around when the sun goes down on the East Coast. But no, so. Really strange kind of set listing here with SOS in the middle of the set, which is really weird. And then Lead the Way late second set, bizarre. And then just interesting things to point out. I'm sure that was all sick at the show. Probably pretty weird vibe to have Lead the Way. It's kind of your cool down song, which I think is actually pretty dope. And then you get a gigantic hot tea at the end there, which that's a party. And then Jive 2, Jive Lee, you're dancing out the door, into Encore and out the door. So that's not a bad way to end up the set. It's got me excited about tonight. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I just want to say that I love you so much, Neil. I'm sure it was sick at the show. It was. And I said this on Cam's pod, one of his paywall pods, was just talking about the fish shows that we went to together and about how it's Monsters is the greatest fish show in the world. And Neil just goes, you don't want to hear my thoughts. And I'm like, thank you. and then, we went back, listened to Parcels Live one, and Neil was great telling stories, making us laugh in on all the bits. These two are absolute bitsmen.
Thank you.
And you guys are so fucking great. And I appreciate that. I'm sure it was sick at the show, but I do have some thoughts. And that's your job to have those thoughts.
Yes.
I don't have, and other people in the world do. So thank you for providing your service.
So
but
Connor, hit us before we wrap up here. Hit us with your speculation for tonight. What do you think is going to happen? You said you had theories.
Full wolf set.
Full wolf set.
Yeah, you'll
down with the wolf set.
Yeah, you'll get the
How It Ends comes back. I hope so.
Yeah. It's a full.
That would be really sick.
And understand, I am calling this so that it doesn't happen, so that I don't miss it and hate my job, and because I'm not going to be there. Because that's the thing that I would want the most in the world is a full. Just give me Atlas Dogs into Silver Rising, and then make you forget about it. And what's the 3-headed? Oh, Fluffy. It's a Fluffy set.
Yeah.
The 3-headed dog.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens. It's been a few years since the last Halloween, so wondering if they're going to stick with their previous movie soundtrack themes that they've done for Halloween in the past. But whatever it is, it's going to be fun. As you said, Neil, showtime is 6:30, so just a couple hours. Going to head towards the venue shortly. We're going to the pier. We're hopefully going to get a nice sunset. It's going to be nice.
Remember, you're as far west as Pittsburgh now. You're not in Boston, so the sun's gonna set an hour earlier where Neil is than where you are, even though you're in the same time zone. Quickly, Jive 2, I did this after we recut the Portland show, and I was doing a little bit goes a long, long way. And it's one of my favorite things. I tell you about your collab tweet and how it's just become this thing, and it's so great. And so it's such a little bit, but you know what? It goes a long, long way. I mean, look where you are now. Keep going. And I had this little like stringy thing that I play with, so I'm not on my phone. I'm going to use a tie as a prop, and I was like lined up with Jeff and Cotter, which also it was so sick with the new setup to see them like communicating and being like in tune and having that in like a straight line.
Yeah,
that was really fun rather than it being across the back of the stage, like, and you know, them making each other laugh. And so Jeff is looking at me, and I had this little string, and I just start going, a little bit goes a long, long way. Oh, and he just busted out laughing. He was just like, and I was just proud of that, and I wanted to share it with the universe.
Thank you, Connor. And on that note, we're gonna wrap up today's pod. Connor, always such a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. Love you guys. Love everything
Love
you do.
Too. Happy Halloween, everybody. Enjoy the show tonight, whether you're out trick-or-treating, if you're watching, if you're at the show, whatever. It's going to be awesome. We will see you back here tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern to recap tonight's Halloween show. It's going to be a good one, folks. So we will see you there. Full stars.
I'm now just calling things that I
heard it here first. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow.